Before we dive into this dark chapter of American history, I want to know who's watching. Drop a comment and tell me your age, what city you're from, and what draws you to these forgotten stories of resistance. Are you here because you love history, or because you understand that some stories need to be told no matter how uncomfortable they make us? Hit that subscribe button if you believe the truth matters, even when it's wrapped in blood and buried in silence. The heat suffocates. It's not the kind of heat that fades when the sun drops behind the horizon. No, this is different. This is the kind of heat that sits in the air like a thick fog, a presence that suffocates every breath. The house, the mansion, holds it in, traps it within its high ceilings and grand hallways. It presses down on skin, on lungs, makes each inhale feel like a sin. The walls of the mansion have stories to tell, stories etched into the very beams of the house, written in the blood of those who worked until their bones crumbled into dust. The floorboards hold memories, the footprints of their creators, now buried beneath layers of polish and power. There are sounds here, but they are not the sounds of life. The clang of chains, the scrape of heavy boots on the wood, the low murmur of whispered commands. It's a cadence that lingers in the air, hanging heavy. It's a rhythm of submission, a rhythm of inevitability. But beneath it all, there is something else. Something that moves unseen, something that remembers. In the stillness of the mansion, amidst the oppressive silence, there is a quiet beat, a pulse, and it is not the pulse of those who hold the power. It is the pulse of the walls themselves, the pulse of the earth beneath them, the pulse of one who refuses to bend. Her name is Rebecca. She stands in the shadows of this house, and the house knows her as the stone knows the weight of the earth pressing down upon it. She knows the scent of blood, both hers and theirs, and she carries it like a cloak. It wraps around her, drapes over her skin, and it's not a curse. It is a mark of something stronger. She is not what they think she is. She is not just a slave. No, she is a reckoning. The walls of this mansion, with their towering presence, their ornate furniture, their empty rooms, they think they are in control. But Rebecca knows. The house has always belonged to her. Every crack in the walls, every creak of the floor beneath her feet is a reminder of what she has endured. It is the reminder of her suffering, her stolen life. But now, Rebecca is different. The mansion's pulse is quickening. The moment is coming. The house is about to learn that Rebecca is not a shadow in its halls. Her silence is the storm before the thunder, and when it strikes, the mansion will be no more than a tomb. Its walls nothing but the final resting place for those who thought they could bury her. A sound. A shift. The smallest tremor in the floor. A breath held too long. She stands poised on the edge. Her feet shift, the tiniest motion, silent, almost imperceptible. The chains rattle faintly, the heat presses in, but there's something else now. Something new. A force. Rebecca's heartbeat is the loudest sound in the room. It echoes in her chest, grows louder. The world around her pauses, as if the mansion itself holds its breath. The silence becomes tangible, like a pressure, like an invisible hand closing around her throat. But she does not falter. Her hands, rough, calloused, scarred, move with a fluidity that speaks of experience. The key, cold and sharp, slides into place. She feels the click beneath her fingertips, and for a moment there is stillness. The door creaks open, just a crack, just enough. She does not rush. She does not make a sound. Rebecca's eyes flicker to the hallway. She is alone, but the weight of what she is about to do hangs in the air. It is a moment of quiet madness. A single breath before the storm. The mansion does not know yet, but it will soon. Rebecca moves through the halls of the mansion like a shadow. The air around her is thick, heavy with the scent of dust, sweat, and the faintest trace of something darker. The mansion groans, its walls sagging under the weight of its own secrets. The chandeliers above her glint with too much light, yet the rooms are always dim, as if the sun can't find its way in. She's seen it all. The polished floors, the grand stairs, the walls that seem to stretch on forever. All of it a cage. She is the bird that has been kept in a gilded cage for far too long, and now the bars are starting to crack. Her skin, darkened by the sun, bears the scars of years of labor, of forced servitude. Her hands, large, strong, calloused, tell a story of endless toil. She knows the weight of the iron in the hands of her oppressors. She has carried it on her shoulders in the silent hours before dawn, in the stifling heat of the day. But it's the silence that has always defined her. The silence of the mansion, the silence of those who think they own her. Rebecca is no longer defined by the silence. She is the storm that will tear it apart. The mansion thinks it controls her. It does not know that Rebecca is the one who holds the key. The walls tremble. The silence, once her prison, now feels like a thin veil. She stands at the edge of something, of everything. Rebecca has always felt it, the power that lies within her, beneath the surface. She has buried it, smothered it with years of servitude, of watching, of waiting. But now it rises. Her heartbeat quickens. The mansion's pulse quickens. The air vibrates with the potential of what is to come. Every step she takes echoes in her chest. Every breath she draws is a whisper of the future. The weight of her past hangs heavy, yes, but it does not define her anymore. Her hands are steady now, her heart steady. The anger, once a flame flickering on the edges of her thoughts, is now a raging fire. The mansion holds its breath, the walls closing in, the air thick with the weight of what is about to unfold. Rebecca can feel it. The world is on the cusp of change, and she, Rebecca, is the one who will bring it. The mansion, for all its power, will crumble beneath her. The storm is coming. The mansion is an island in a sea of dirt, surrounded by the weight of land that has seen too much blood soaked into its soil, too much suffering hidden beneath the rolling hills. It is a place where light cannot breathe, where even the wind that brushes through the trees carries the scent of something foul, something bound, something broken. Rebecca knows the mansion like the back of her hand. It is her prison, but also in a strange way, it is her home. She knows every crack in the wall, every stain on the polished floors, every shift in the air when the masters walk by. The rooms are cold, impossibly cold, even in the summer months when the heat hangs heavy over the land. The windows are always closed, always shut tight, keeping the sunlight from entering, keeping the world outside from coming in. The mansion is a cage, but it is not a passive one. It watches, it breathes with its own life, its dark, consuming energy. Each step she takes reverberates through the floors, the walls whispering their secrets to her as they settle. But she no longer listens to the whispers. She only listens to herself, her pulse, her breath, the steady rhythm of rebellion that has begun to hum beneath her skin. The walls are vast. They tower above her, thick with history. The house was built by hands that had once been like hers, hands that had bled under the lash, hands that had toiled under the sun. But now those hands, those same hands, have become the hands of those who own it. The masters, their faces pale and cold as marble, walk through the halls as if they own the air itself. They do not see the cracks in their world. They do not see the cracks in the walls or in her. Every moment Rebecca spends in the mansion is a reminder of how small she has been made to feel. The air, thick with the scent of heavy woods and expensive perfume, chokes her. The rustle of silk against the skin of her masters, the sound of crystal glasses clinking together in rooms she cannot enter, the taste of iron and sweat on her tongue, it all fills her senses. There is no escape, no relief, no freedom, but still, Rebecca breathes. She breathes in the stale air of the mansion, and she remembers. She remembers the first time she was brought here, her skin trembling beneath the hot sun, the bite of the chains at her wrists, the weight of the iron collar around her neck. She was so young, so helpless, but not anymore. The years have passed, and the mansion, this cold, unyielding place, has worn her down. But it has also forged her. She has learned to listen to the hum beneath the stone. She has learned to become the silence, but not for long. She knows the rhythms of this place too well now, the rhythms of the morning bells, the rhythms of the whispering wind through the trees, the rhythms of the masters as they dine in their gilded halls. These rhythms, they will be her undoing. Rebecca moves through the house as if it does not exist. The servants' quarters are her world, dank, dark rooms where the air stinks of sweat and the rustle of cotton sheets. The house is too big for her, too grand. The sheer scale of it, the opulence of it mocks her. Every step she takes on the wooden floors feels like a betrayal. Each footfall reminds her of the history of this place. The mansion was built on the backs of slaves, people like her taken from their homes, their families, their lives. She remembers the stories the older slaves told her of when the house was first built. It was not always so grand, not always so hollow with the noise of wealth. But now the house hums with power, and yet there are cracks, small cracks. They are invisible, but they are there. They run through the walls, through the floors. Rebecca can feel them in the soles of her feet, in the depths of her soul. The house, for all its strength, is crumbling. It is in these cracks that she begins to see the possibility of escape. Not from the physical structure, not yet. No, Rebecca will not escape. She will tear it down. She will make the mansion itself the instrument of her vengeance. The mansion, with its wealth and grandeur, cannot hide its rot. The rooms are hollow. The halls are empty, save for the dust of the years. And the dust? It is only a mask, a thin veil over the truth. The walls have heard the cries of the beaten, the groans of the broken. It has heard the screams of those who were never seen, never heard. And it will hear her cry as well. This is her world. It is cold, it is cruel, it is suffocating. But it will be her battlefield. The mansion, the masters, the walls, all of it will fall to the weight of her fury. Rebecca's past is a tapestry of grief and rage. She was born under a different sky, under the sun of her homeland, a place that had never known the bite of chains. A place where the winds carried the sweet scent of the earth, of trees, of flowers. But it is a place that is now a distant memory, a memory swallowed by the walls of the mansion. She remembers the first time they came. The men with their rifles and whips, their eyes cold, their voices harsh. She remembers her mother's arms, strong, protective. She remembers the way the world seemed to stop when the men arrived, the way the land seemed to shudder beneath their feet. The warmth of her mother's embrace is all she has left. Rebecca was young when they took her. Too young to understand the words the men said, too young to understand the violence that had been inflicted on her. But she understood the fear, the look in her mother's eyes, the way her mother's arms trembled as they were separated. She remembers the pain of the chains, the heavy iron clamped around her ankles, around her wrists. She remembers the way the rough hands of the overseers grabbed at her, yanked her into submission. Her skin burned under the heat of the sun, the sweat mixing with the dust. She had never known such pain, such rawness. But even then, even as the pain tore at her body, Rebecca felt something stirring deep within her. It was small, a flicker of defiance, a whisper of rebellion. But it was enough. It grew quietly in the dark corners of her mind, feeding on her suffering, feeding on her rage. The trauma of her past has shaped her. The weight of it lingers in the air around her, inside her. It is in the scar on her shoulder from the whip, in the tremor of her hands when she holds the key to the mansion's door. It is in the steady beat of her heart, the slow rhythm of vengeance that has built over the years. She is not the same girl who first entered the mansion. She is not the girl who cowered in the face of power, who wept in silence as the masters reveled in their luxury. No, Rebecca has learned the language of this place. She has learned to speak it with fire, with fury. Her mind is a battlefield, a place where her past and her present collide. But it is here, in the depths of her mind, that the seeds of her rebellion are planted. The mansion, with all its opulence and cruelty, cannot erase the woman she has become. Rebecca's trauma is not a weakness. It is the fuel that will burn this house to the ground. The journey to rebellion begins not with action, but with thought, with clarity, with the quiet realization that the chains that bind her are not just physical, they are psychological. Rebecca has spent years learning the rhythms of the mansion. She knows the way the masters speak, the way their voices rise when they give commands, and how they lower when they speak to each other in private. She knows their schedules, their dining hours, their times of rest. She knows where the weaknesses are, where the cracks lie, but more importantly, she has learned to listen to herself, to the voice that has been whispering within her since that first moment of pain, the voice that tells her that she is not the sum of her suffering, that she is not a tool for their use, not a thing to be broken, to be shaped by their hands. She has learned to drown out their words, their commands, to shut out their presence as she moves through the halls, invisible to them, yet always watching. In the quiet moments of the night, when the mansion sleeps and the world is still, Rebecca closes her eyes and listens to the quiet rhythm of her heart. It is a rhythm she has learned to trust. It is steady, unyielding. It tells her that she is more than the sum of her past. It tells her that she is strong. The walls of the mansion are a reflection of her mind. They are cold, unfeeling, but they are also waiting for the moment when the first crack will appear, when the first tremor will shake their foundations, when the quiet rage inside her will be released and it will tear the walls down. She has been broken, yes, but she has been forged in the fire of suffering, and now she is ready. The air is thick, stale, stagnant. It clings to Rebecca's skin like the weight of her past, like the chains that once bound her body to the whims of the masters. She moves through the halls of the mansion with a quiet precision, but inside her mind races, churns like a storm gathering strength in the sky. The sound of her breath fills her ears, steady, controlled. Each step she takes is measured, careful, but there is a tremor deep inside her chest that she cannot ignore. Her heart beats with a new rhythm now. It no longer beats in fear or for survival. It beats for something else. She stops in front of a door, the door to the grand parlor, the place where the masters dine, laugh, and drink wine from crystal glasses, where they sit as if they own the world, as if they are gods. The rich scent of their perfumed air and the laughter that rings out from behind that door feels like a slap to her face. It is a reminder of the life she has lived, the life that has been stolen from her. The quiet tension in her chest grows, twisting tighter, a coil of rage tightening in her stomach. It threatens to burst free, but Rebecca holds it in check. Not yet. Not until the time is right. She steps closer to the door, pressing her ear to the cool wood. She can hear their voices, the clink of glass. Their words are like knives, sharp and cutting, but they don't cut her anymore. In the silence of the mansion, Rebecca allows herself a moment to listen, to feel her anger grow, to let the memory of every slap, every lash, every moment of humiliation fill her veins like fire. She closes her eyes, drawing a deep breath, inhaling the very air that has tainted her for years. The taste of it is bitter, like ash in her mouth. The anger, the rage is almost too much to bear. It cracks like thunder in her chest. The storm is gathering, building in her mind, in her soul, but it is not time. Not yet. She steps back from the door. The silence of the mansion consumes her again, heavy and suffocating. But within that silence there is a quiet, steady resolve. The mansion, with all its power, will soon understand that its walls are not invincible. Its masters will learn that Rebecca's silence is not weakness. It is the calm before the storm. Her mind is a battlefield now. She is caught between fear and fury, between the girl she once was and the woman she is becoming. Each moment brings her closer to the breaking point. Each breath she takes draws her closer to the moment when she will finally shatter the silence and the walls, once and for all. The moment arrives when the weight of silence becomes unbearable. Rebecca feels it in her bones, in the marrow of her soul. It is a soundless scream that vibrates within her chest. It is a force that rises from the deepest recesses of her being, a power that she has been nurturing in the dark corners of her mind. She stands in front of a window now, looking out into the sprawling estate. The vast lawn stretches before her, endless, filled with the scent of flowers and the distant hum of life beyond the mansion's walls. But the world outside feels so far away. It feels like a memory, something she once knew, something she was once a part of, but she is not a part of that world anymore. Not now. Not after everything she's endured. The reflection in the glass catches her eye. It is not just her own image that stares back at her. It is the weight of her past, the scars on her body and soul, the years of silent suffering. But beneath it all, beneath the bruises and the burns, is something else, something fierce, something that has been growing inside her, like a fire stoked by the ashes of her grief. Rebecca sees it in her eyes. A spark, a light. It is small now, but it is enough. Enough to light the path forward. Her hands, those hands that have been bound in service for so long, tremble. She reaches for a knife. It is small, sharp, Her fingers brush against the cold steel, and for a moment she just holds it. It feels like an extension of her, a reflection of her own growing power. The mansion is quiet, too quiet, and the quiet is not her ally anymore. She takes the knife in her hand, feeling the weight of it, the sharpness. It is a symbol now. It is the key that will unlock her future. The mansion, this cold, oppressive, silent place, is no longer a prison. It is the stage for her rebellion. Rebecca is no longer the woman who cowered in the shadows, no longer the girl who whispered her pain into the night. She is something else now, something dangerous, something capable of bending the very walls of this house to her will. Her pulse quickens as she holds the knife. Her mind clears. There is no fear now. There is no hesitation. The knife is not just a weapon, it is a tool for the change that is about to come. Rebecca takes a deep breath. Her grip tightens on the knife. The mansion will fall. The masters will fall. And she will rise. The mansion is still. Too still. Its silence presses down on Rebecca like a heavy weight, like the very air is waiting. Waiting for something. Waiting for her. She moves through the grand hallways, her steps muffled by the thick rugs beneath her feet. The heavy curtains are drawn tight, shutting out the sunlight, and the scent of stale perfume clings to the air, an oppressive reminder of the lives that have been spent here, of the hands that have poured wine and cracked whips under the same roof. The mansion is a tomb, suffocating in its silence, but it is not dead yet, not by far. The walls still hum with life, with power that does not belong to the men who sit in their chambers, who believe themselves untouchable. But Rebecca knows better. She moves as a shadow. Each corner she turns is another beat in the rhythm of her purpose. Her hands, steady now, hold the knife. Feel its cool, jagged edge. The blade is sharp, razor sharp, and it hums with its own energy, like the hum of a storm cloud gathering on the horizon. She feels its weight in her hand, its potential. It is not just a weapon. It is a promise of what is to come. Her mind is clear. The chaos that has always swirled just beneath the surface of her life has finally settled. Like a storm cloud before the first crack of thunder. All the years of servitude, all the hours of silence and suffering have led to this moment. She has no doubt. She knows exactly what she is going to do. Rebecca walks toward the storeroom, her every movement filled with purpose. The air in the house feels thicker now, as though the walls themselves are closing in, suffocating the very life of the place. There are no sounds, no footsteps, no laughter, no calls. The house is asleep, unaware of the storm that is about to break. She reaches the door. It is heavy, thick wood, but it gives way with the slightest push, groaning as it opens. Inside, the storeroom smells of leather, salt, and oil. The scent of tools and weapons, the tools of labor and control. She has been in this room countless times before, but today it feels different. Today it feels like a place of power, a place where she can finally prepare to take back what was stolen from her. The shelves are lined with old tools, picks, shovels, whips, chains, objects meant to break, to enslave, to control. But Rebecca sees them differently now. They are no longer instruments of subjugation. They are symbols of the world she will destroy. Her hands move over the tools with a practiced calm. She doesn't need much, but what she chooses will carry the weight of everything she has endured. The first item she takes is a heavy rope. The feel of it in her hands is familiar, its coarse texture biting into her palms. It will bind, it will tie, and it will ensure her plan is carried out. Next, she reaches for a large knife, a butcher's cleaver, its blade gleaming dully in the dim light. It is the kind of knife meant to carve into flesh, but today it will carve into the heart of the mansion itself. She moves toward the back of the room, where a chest lies beneath a dust-covered tarp. Rebecca lifts the heavy cloth, revealing its contents. Tools and traps for the animals that used to roam the estate. Metal spikes, chains, traps that could capture and hold a beast. These too will be hers. These will be the tools of her liberation. She can hear the faint sounds of the masters in their chambers. The clink of crystal glasses, the low murmur of their voices. Too distant to understand, but close enough to remind her of everything she has lived through. Everything they have done to her people, to her past. Rebecca takes a deep breath. The air in the storeroom is thick, but she doesn't mind. The heaviness fills her lungs with the weight of what is to come. Her heart beats in her chest, slow and steady, a beat she can feel in her fingertips. She feels the weight of the rope, the blade, the metal tools, each one a promise of what she will do. Each tool is an extension of her mind, an extension of her will. She will turn this house, this prison, into a monument to her power. The knife, the rope, the chains, they are not just objects. They are the physical manifestation of her rage, her grief, her defiance. Each one tells a story of blood and sweat, of broken bodies and broken promises. But more than that, they tell the story of a woman who has had enough. Enough of the silence, enough of the subjugation, enough of the fear. She moves back toward the door, the tools carefully tucked into a leather bag at her side. The house is quiet again, but the stillness is different now. It's no longer the silence of submission, of hopelessness. It is the stillness before the storm. Rebecca takes one last look around the storeroom. The tools of her past are scattered around her, but now they are her weapons, and she is the storm. Her fingers brush the edge of the door as she steps back into the hallway. The mansion stretches before her, its vast halls and towering walls still as ever, but she can feel the weight of the house shifting now, like the earth before an earthquake. She moves forward, her steps slower this time, her mind focused. There is no turning back now. She has everything she needs. Rebecca's pulse quickens as she makes her way toward the grand staircase. She can feel it now, the weight of her own purpose. It is as if the mansion itself recognizes it. The floors beneath her feet trembling with the silent anticipation of what is to come. The air in the halls feels colder now. Every breath she takes is sharp, like ice cutting through the stillness. The tools she carries in her bag feel heavier, not because of their weight, but because of what they represent. The mansion, with all its grandeur, all its opulence, stands before her like an obstacle, a fortress that must be brought to its knees. She reaches the base of the grand staircase and pauses. The large wooden door at the top of the stairs creaks open just slightly. Rebecca's eyes narrow as she hears the sounds of the master's voices, distant, muffled, but unmistakable. They are gathered in their rooms, relaxing, unaware of the fate that awaits them. It is time. Rebecca's breath catches in her throat and she steadies herself. She moves up the stairs with quiet precision, her footsteps light against the polished wood. Every inch of this place feels like it is alive, like it is watching her, waiting for her to make her move. The rooms at the top of the stairs are where the masters sleep. These are the rooms that have been the site of their cruelty, their indulgence. She knows them well. She has cleaned their chambers, washed their linens, listened to their whispered conversations. But now, the mansion is no longer just their domain. It is hers, and it will bend to her will. She stands before one of the doors, quiet, still. The handle feels cold beneath her fingers, but it is not the cold of the house. It is the cold of fate. She pushes the door open just a crack and slips inside. The room is dim, lit only by the faint glow of candlelight. The master lies in his bed, his breathing slow and heavy, oblivious to the woman who is standing in his room. She steps forward, each movement deliberate, each step filled with the weight of her mission. Rebecca kneels by the bed, the cleaver's blade resting lightly in her hand. She can hear the master's breath, feel the heat of his body as he sleeps soundly, unaware of the storm that is about to consume him. But she does not strike yet. Her hand shakes slightly as she holds the cleaver, but it is not fear. It is the tremor of a body that has been waiting for this moment for so long. The master is not the target. Not yet. This room is. This house is. With a deep breath, Rebecca raises the cleaver. She brings it down with a sudden, brutal force onto the wooden post of the bed, the sound of the impact ringing out through the room, a symbol of her fury. The blade strikes the wood with a sickening thud, splintering the post in two. The master stirs, but it is too late. The storm is already here. Rebecca stands in the room, her body still, her hand gripping the cleaver. She stares at the broken bedpost. This is just the beginning. The mansion will know now. It will feel her rage, feel her power. It will know that Rebecca is no longer a shadow in its halls. She is the storm that will tear it apart. Rebecca's pulse quickens as she makes her way toward the grand staircase. She can feel it now, the weight of her own purpose. It is as if the mansion itself recognizes it, the floors beneath her feet trembling with the silent anticipation of what is to come. The air in the halls feels colder now. Every breath she takes is sharp, like ice cutting through the stillness. The tools she carries in her bag feel heavier, not because of their weight, but because of what they represent. The mansion, with all its grandeur, all its opulence, stands before her like an obstacle, a fortress that must be brought to its knees. She reaches the base of the grand staircase and pauses. The large wooden door at the top of the stairs creaks open just slightly. Rebecca's eyes narrow as she hears the sounds of the master's voices, distant, muffled but unmistakable. They are gathered in their rooms, relaxing, unaware of the fate that awaits them. It is time. Rebecca's breath catches in her throat and she steadies herself. She moves up the stairs with quiet precision, her footsteps light against the polished wood. Every inch of this place feels like it is alive, like it is watching her, waiting for her to make her move. The rooms at the top of the stairs are where the masters sleep. These are the rooms that have been the site of their cruelty, their indulgence. She knows them well. She has cleaned their chambers, washed their linens, listened to their whispered conversations. But now the mansion is no longer just their domain. It is hers, and it will bend to her will. She stands before one of the doors, quiet, still. The handle feels cold beneath her fingers, but it is not the cold of the house. It is the cold of fate. She pushes the door open just a crack and slips inside. The room is dim, lit only by the faint glow of candlelight. The master lies in his bed, his breathing slow and heavy, oblivious to the woman who is standing in his room. She steps forward, each movement deliberate, each step filled with the weight of her mission. Rebecca kneels by the bed, the cleaver's blade resting lightly in her hand. She can hear the master's breath, feel the heat of his body as he sleeps soundly, unaware of the storm that is about to consume him. But she does not strike yet. Her hand shakes slightly as she holds the cleaver, but it is not fear. It is the tremor of a body that has been waiting for this moment for so long. The master is not the target. Not yet. This room is. This house is. With a deep breath, Rebecca raises the cleaver. She brings it down with a sudden, brutal force onto the wooden post of the bed, the sound of the impact ringing out through the room, a symbol of her fury. The blade strikes the wood with a sickening thud, splintering the post in two. The master stirs, but it is too late. The storm is already here. Rebecca stands in the room, her body still, her hand gripping the cleaver. She stares at the broken bedpost. This is just the beginning. The mansion will know now. It will feel her rage, feel her power. It will know that Rebecca is no longer a shadow in its halls. She is the storm that will tear it apart. The silence is deafening now. The mansion, which once hummed with the whispers of power, is hollow. Its walls, once so imposing, now feel fragile, as if they might crumble beneath the weight of the truth that has unfolded within them. The air is thick with the scent of sweat, blood, and something darker, something that was once buried deep in the heart of the house. Rebecca stands over the man, her eyes locked onto his twisted form. He lies on the bed, bound tightly, his face contorted with confusion and fear. His breathing is shallow, ragged. No longer the confident breaths of a master, but the desperate gasps of a man who realizes he is no longer in control. His power, once so absolute, is gone. And with it, the sense of invincibility he carried for so long. The mansion, for all its grandeur, cannot save him now, but the consequences of this moment are far from over. She can feel them hanging in the air, thick and suffocating. The mansion itself feels changed, like the very foundations are shaking beneath her feet. Rebecca stands still for a moment, letting the stillness wash over her. But it is not the peace she once yearned for. No, it is the calm before the storm, the quiet before the next wave of destruction. Her pulse thuds in her ears, but she does not move. She cannot, not yet. She has broken the silence, but there are other pieces of this puzzle that must fall into place. The other masters are still out there, still blissfully unaware of what has happened in their absence. They will come. They will try to reclaim what they think is theirs. They will fight. But Rebecca's ready. She is more than ready. The first step has been taken, and there is no going back. As she surveys the room, the broken furniture, the scattered tools, she feels a pang in her chest, a faint flicker of doubt, of something she can't quite name. The man before her is a symbol, yes, but he is also a man. Once he had a family, a life outside of the walls of this house. She knows this. She knows the price of his downfall. But she also knows the price of her own. The cost of every action she has taken, the violence that has flowed from her hands. It was never about just revenge. No, it was about something deeper. Something rooted in the earth beneath her feet. In the blood that has soaked this land for centuries. It was about breaking free. Not just from the chains that bound her body, but from the chains that bound her mind, her spirit. Rebecca looks down at the man again, his body unmoving, the ropes that hold him tight as the ropes that once held her. His power has crumbled, but the mansion still stands. She knows this will not be easy. The house may fall, but it will take more than a single act to bring it all down. The silence continues, but now it is different. It is heavy. It is laden with consequence. And as Rebecca stands there in the heart of this mansion, she knows the true cost of what she has done has only just begun. The mansion feels alive, but in a way, it never has before. The oppressive air that once hung in the halls now trembles, as if the walls themselves are breathing in shallow, hesitant gasps. The house, this grand cold structure, is forever changed, and Rebecca, standing at the precipice of it all, can feel its weight shift, pulling everything down with it. What was once a place of power is now a place of ruin. Its foundation is cracked, its truth laid bare, and she, the architect of its destruction, is left to stand amidst the wreckage, alone, but not defeated. The silence that follows the violence is a different kind of silence. It is not the quiet of surrender, of broken bodies and shattered spirits. No, this silence hums with something more, something potent. It is the stillness of a new beginning, the aftermath of rebellion, the kind of silence that settles over the land when something old, something rotten, is buried, and the ground is left to reclaim its strength. The mansion that once loomed over her now feels small, insignificant, like a relic, a ghost of what it used to be. Rebecca moves through the house, her footsteps soft, but sure. The rooms are still empty, but they no longer hold the same weight. The once grandiose furniture, opulent silken chairs, carved tables, gilded mirrors, now looks out of place. The fine fabrics, the polished wood, the jewels that once sparkled in the glow of the chandelier, they are all part of a world that has crumbled. The beauty of it all has faded. It is all hollow now. Her eyes move over the broken objects scattered around her, the pieces of a life that never belonged to her, the remnants of a world that had nothing but cruelty to offer her. But it was a world that had defined her existence, and now it is slipping away, slipping through her fingers like sand. Every room, every corner of the mansion holds a memory, the sound of whips cracking, the harsh commands that echoed down the halls, the feeling of her own bones aching under the weight of years spent as nothing more than a shadow. The anger that burned inside her, the fire that began as a flicker, now burns fiercely. She remembers the times when she could not look the masters in the eye, when she would bow her head and submit to the power that held her. She remembers the scars, the bruises, the suffering, but all of that is gone now. In its place is something stronger, something unyielding. As Rebecca walks through the now empty halls, she runs her fingers along the cold stone walls. The touch is light, but it carries the weight of 1,000 emotions. Anger, grief, pain, but also a deep, quiet strength. The mansion, though it has been broken, is still standing. It has become a part of her now. A symbol of everything that has been lost and everything that has been gained. The legacy of their actions, the actions of the masters who lived here, who ruled over her and her people, will not be forgotten. It cannot be. The mansion may have been their creation, but it is now hers. She has claimed it. Every room, every corner, every crack in the floor is a testament to her journey, to the woman she has become. The mansion will stand as a symbol of her power, her resilience, and her refusal to bow. It will stand even as it crumbles, as a reminder of what happens when you push someone to the edge and forget they have the strength to fight back. The masters, their wealth, their luxury, it all means nothing now. They are gone, their empire shattered. What is left of them is only the mark they left on the land, the weight of their cruelty, the shadow of their power. But even that shadow is fading. The house will no longer carry their name. It will no longer carry their legacy. Rebecca stops in front of the grand staircase. She has walked it so many times before, but this time, it feels different. This time she stands at the top, looking down upon everything they built, looking down upon the world they created for themselves, the world that was built on their own arrogance and disregard for those beneath them, but no more. She has torn it all down. Piece by piece she has taken it apart, and now she watches as it collapses under its own weight. The grand chandelier that once hung overhead, glistening with jewels, now lies shattered on the ground below. The staircases that once led to their kingdom are no longer paths to power. They are just steps, old and worn, leading nowhere. Rebecca turns away from the stairs, her gaze sweeping across the house one last time. There is no pride in her eyes, no satisfaction in her chest. Instead, there is something quieter, something deeper. She knows that while the mansion will stand for now, its foundations are cracked, and its days are numbered. It has served its purpose, and soon it will crumble. But not today. Today she allows herself to feel what she has earned. She has done more than survive. She has reclaimed everything that was taken from her. The mansion, the walls that once confined her, now belong to her. The legacy of the masters, with all their cruelty and power, is no longer theirs to wield. It is hers. The very land beneath her feet, soaked with the blood of her ancestors, now sings a different song. The mansion is her inheritance now, not in wealth, not in gold or jewels, but in the power to break the chains that bind. Her steps echo through the halls, fading as she walks further into the depths of the house. Her path is clear, her purpose resolute. The mansion will stand, yes, but its legacy has been rewritten, and it will be remembered not as a home for the powerful, but as a tomb for those who thought they could hold others in chains. The mansion stands silent now, its former grandeur no longer a symbol of power, but a monument to the weight of years spent beneath its shadow. The walls, once teeming with the sounds of idle laughter and cruelty, now hold only the echoes of rebellion. And within those echoes, Rebecca finds herself, caught between the bitter memory of what was and the quiet realization of what has been achieved. But in that space, in the aftermath of destruction, there is something else. A question lingering like smoke in the air. What now? The mansion, with all its opulence, its gold, its silks, was never her prison. It was a lie that told her she was nothing, that her skin, her blood, her spirit could be bought and sold, marked as property, as a thing to be owned. The stones beneath her feet, the walls that enclosed her, all whispered the same thing. You are less than. You belong to us, but what is a prison truly? Is it the chains that bind your hands? Or is it the belief that you're less than the ones who hold the keys? Rebecca has spent her life shackled by the belief that she was meant for something less. That she was born to serve, to labor, to bend and break under the weight of other people's power. But that belief is a prison too. The real prison was never the mansion. It was the notion that her worth was defined by others. It was the lies she allowed herself to believe. The lies that twisted her identity, crushed her spirit, made her invisible. And yet, here she stands. Not broken, not defeated. She has torn down the mansion's walls. Yes, but the true liberation, the true rebellion, is not in the crumbling stones around her. It is in the fire that has been kindled within her. The fire that will burn long after the ashes of this house have scattered into the wind. There is no true freedom, she understands now, without first facing the weight of the chains that bind us. There is no triumph without the struggle. For years, Rebecca's struggle was survival. To survive in the face of constant degradation. To live through the cruelty and the violence. To endure the indignity of being treated as less. But in that endurance, something grew. The strength to fight back, to rise up, to tear down what had been built upon her suffering. She thinks of the man she left bound in that room, the one who once had the power to call her slave, the one who, with a word, could reduce her to nothing, the one who thought his wealth, his bloodline, his name made him untouchable, the one who thought that power could be bought. But what is power? Is it the ability to control others? To bend them to your will, to break them beneath your boot? Is it the wealth that fills your pockets, or the name that echoes through the halls of the mansion? Or is power something else entirely? Rebecca knows now that true power is not something you can hold in your hands. It is not something you can hoard or steal or buy. It is not something that is given to you by birthright. True power is the ability to stand in the face of oppression, of cruelty, of fear, and to say, no more. It is the ability to take everything they told you was yours and to turn it against them. It is the ability to rise up and reclaim your worth. Rebecca has taken power in the only way that matters. Not through violence, though violence has been a part of her journey, but through the reclamation of her own humanity. She has broken the chains, not just of her body, but of her spirit. She has cast off the lies that defined her. She has looked into the eyes of her oppressors, seen their fear, and realized that they were the ones who were bound by their own lies, their own beliefs, their own need for control. This is the legacy she leaves behind. Not the destruction of the mansion, though that too is necessary, but the destruction of the belief that anyone at all, is born to be less. The destruction of the idea that power belongs only to the wealthy, the privileged, the ones who are born with a crown upon their head. Power does not belong to them. It belongs to those who fight, those who rise, those who claim it. The mansion will fall. Its stones will crumble into dust. The masters will fade into the annals of history, their names forgotten by all but those who once bowed to them. But Rebecca's legacy will endure. It will endure because she has rewritten the story. She has taken the pen and written a new chapter, a chapter where she is not a slave, but a queen, a chapter where her voice, her power, her strength will not be silenced. Rebecca steps back from the ruins of the mansion, her eyes scanning the horizon. The air is cooler now, the weight of the house lifting from her shoulders. The sun hangs low in the sky, casting long shadows across the land. It is a new day, a new beginning. The ground beneath her feet is still warm from the fire she set in the heart of the mansion. But the smoke has begun to clear. The world is open now. It stretches out before her. And for the first time in her life, she feels like she belongs in it. Not as a servant, not as a shadow, but as a force to be reckoned with. She has nothing left to prove. She is free. Rebecca stands at the threshold of the mansion's remains. The fire that once raged inside its walls has now turned to embers, faintly glowing in the twilight. The destruction is complete, but it is not the end. It is the beginning. Her journey, the pain, the suffering, and the blood spilled, has brought her here, to this moment, to this space where the mansion's towering presence has shrunk to rubble beneath her feet. The weight of it all settles in her chest. She feels it, her past, her struggles, the legacy of her ancestors. It is still there, woven into her skin, into her bones. But it is no longer a weight of subjugation. It is the weight of victory, the weight of freedom. She runs her fingers through the ash, her eyes scanning the remnants of the house. The pillars that once held it up now shattered, the velvet curtains now stained and scorched. The world outside the mansion stretches wide and endless, unmarked by the cruelty of the past. The world now belongs to her as much as it belongs to anyone else. Her breath is steady. The storm that has raged inside her is calm now, but still, there is a quiet fire burning beneath the surface. She has no need to speak of what she has done, of what she has destroyed. The mansion, the masters, the false power, they are no more. The world is hers to reclaim. Not with violence or fear, but with her own strength, her own spirit. She no longer needs the walls to define her. Her reflection in the smoke and the ruins is all she needs to see. The ashes of the mansion will scatter, but she will stand, unbroken, untamed, as a testament to what it means to be free. Rebecca turns her back to the ruins, her face set, her eyes focused on the horizon. The smoke from the house fades into the evening sky, curling into the air like a ghost. But it is no longer a symbol of suffering. It is the shape of something reborn, something that has been freed from the chains of history. The mansion is gone, and with it, the last vestiges of a life that had tried to define her. But it is not the house that will be remembered. It is her, the girl who became a woman, the slave who became the queen of her own destiny. Her footsteps echo as she walks away from the ruins. They are slow, measured, but with purpose. Her silhouette, dark against the fading light of the day, seems to grow taller with each step. Behind her, the ashes of the mansion fade into nothing. In front of her, the land stretches wide, vast, infinite. It is the world that belongs to her now. Rebecca knows that the road ahead will not always be easy. There will be more battles, more struggles. But this moment, this act of defiance, of rebellion, will be the flame that burns within her for the rest of her life. She's not bound by the past anymore. She is not defined by the mansion or by anyone else's story. She is her own story now, and her legacy. It is written in the ashes of the house, in the fire that burned it all down, and in the strength of a woman who refused to be silenced. The final image, the last thing that lingers as the sun dips below the horizon, is the silhouette of a woman walking forward, leaving behind the ruins of the past and stepping into a future she has forged with her own hands.